Hey, welcome to Taylor's Trick Taking Table. I'm Taylor, and I know it's trick-tacular. I know it. It's supposed to be short videos. I totally get it. I'm going to apologize in advance. This video is just too special not to have it go very, very, very long. And it's special for 5 reasons. If you've watched the channel for any amount of time, you'll probably see a 5. 5s are a huge through line throughout the entire series. I don't know why. I love 5s. I guess I do know why. That's the reason. But we just hit 4,055 subscribers. What? Huh? It blows me away. It's truly, truly remarkable how amazing this whole trick-taking, climbing, shedding card community is. So thank you so much. It truly, truly means a lot. And if you've watched since 3,055, 2,055, 1,055, I'm pretty sure there's a video for 55 subscribers just because I did not think it would go anywhere past that. I am blown away. You continuously blow me away. So thank you so much. It truly means a lot. And just you watching, subscribing, anything has afforded me to do this wild channel for much longer. And thankfully, much longer than I expected it to run. So thank you so much, truly. And so that's the first special thing. The second special thing is I want to do a giveaway. We were doing giveaways every 55, and then moving got hard. But as a special 4,055 giveaway, I usually have a game, and I'm like, put your favorite hamster in the comments, and I'll send out a game to someone I'll pick. I'm going to do something special for 4,055. Put any trick-taking game in the comments. And if I can get it, I will send out a copy to 5 comments. And so that could be anything. It could be a Grail game, could be one you just heard about, maybe you heard it was good, maybe one you're watching right now. Maybe you have one you just played and you really liked. Anything. Put it in the comments. That is enough. I will try to find, I'm sure there's going to be 5 people that I can get 5 trick-taking games. Hopefully, if you put 5 copies of, what's a really rare trick-taking game? Night Shock with Poison or Mantle, that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough one. But I'm trusting in you. I think I'll be able to find 5 with my spies and tricks throughout the world. So thank you so much. That's a special thing. The giveaway to celebrate 4,055. So thank you so much again. So yeah, just comment down below any of the games, a game that you would like, and I'll pick 5 people that I can that I can do. So thank you so much. The third special thing is we have been so fortunate to be given. That's right. This is a very numerical heavy channel video today because we are covering third surprise, 13 leaves, second surprise, or reverse that. Third surprise, fourth surprise, 13 leaves, and 5s. And then the 5th final surprise is, as you can see back here, we have the entire lineup for the new CMYK Magenta line, which is card games in this magenta box. Speaking of which, we probably should dress for the occasion. So in a snap transition, I probably should be in the same spot so it looks cooler, but I want to show off pink socks as well. Okay, so now that we are decked out in our magenta gear for the magenta line, the third surprise, I don't remember what it was, is the fact that there is a game called 5s. That's right, all about 5s. And this is actually a re-implementation of the Green 5 Era, which we covered in the past. So watch that video if you want to see the old version, I guess. But I'll do a full teach. I don't know where I was going with that. But look at this production. Oh my goodness. Oh, first and foremost, oh my gosh, I should have said it at the very top. I was sent these games, the whole magenta line, and actually 13 leaves from Cranio and CMYK. So huge grain of salt. Huge grain of salt. And also, James is a pal, so humongous grain of salt. So that out of the way, this is Green 5 Era, designed by Taiki Shinzawa, and also again, has this brand new production that is covered in fives. And if you know me, this is a game that is just singing to me. The hook to fives is the same as Green 5 So cards are going to have suits on them, and on the back, they are going to have all fives. The twist is you can always play any card in this game as a 5 in the magenta suit. Because there's no 5 in the magenta suit, there is a magenta suit. So all cards have this kind of dual use flexibility, absolutely wild. We'll go to the table and I'll show you how to play. The other game we're covering, not the line, I realize I should address this. This is the only trick-taking, climbing, shedding game in the line so far. Oh no, oh no. That just means that these 3 games, Duos, Figment, and Fruit Fight, will be on my side table channel. So I'll include the links in the description, but that will have to go off into the side table. But they're great. Definitely go watch them. They're wonderful times. So last but not least, we have 13 Leaves, which actually, we got dressed up for the magenta line. Let's do the same for 13 Leaves. Let's fall into this new game, huh? In fact, I think it's kind of Fallout. Let's go see, huh? Well, looks like fall has already fell, so let's just get back inside and cover 13 Leaves, huh? Well, we'll have fall in our hearts as we talk about 13 Leaves by Masato Uesugi, and the hook to this game is it's a climbing shedding game. Shh, I know it's trick-takey-wary. I'm probably going to get fined for this, honestly. But the hook is what you're trying to shed out. It is a climbing, shedding game. But there is a line of cards that people have played in the center of the table. So say someone has played like a 3 before and a 7 before. What you can play has to be the same number or lower than the lowest, or the same number or higher than the highest. So in that example where there's a 3 and a 7, you can play a 7 or higher, or you can play a 3 or lower, but you can't play like a 4 through 6. Things get wild. You can play multiple cards and kind of grow sets, and things get bounced around. It's a pretty wild one. It actually kind of reminds me of Shinobu no Gakko, I believe, a game we covered before, with that kind of line of like, you can play higher or lower, but not in the middle, and has that kind of balance of like low cards are good, high cards are good, middle ones have a lot in them, which is pretty strong in its own right. But so that is 13 Leaves. So, all that to say, world's longest intro, we are going to go to the table and cover 5s, 13 Leaves, and a final thank you so much. 4,055 subscribers is, again, kind of unfathomable. It's getting to the point where I can't understand that number. So there's that. But thank you so much, truly. All right, let's go to the table and let's teach you 13 Leaves and 5s. The deck in 5s is mostly 1 through 13 in 4 suits. Notice there's not a suit up there. That's because in the magenta suit, there's actually a missing 5. It's actually 0 through 13. And where is the 5? Well, on the back of all the cards is a magenta 5. Here we have a game of 5 set up for 4 players. So at 4 players, you're going to shuffle the whole deck, deal 13 cards to each player. At 3 players, you're actually going to remove the 10 to 13 in each suit and deal 12 to each player. But no matter the player count, players are also going to have life chips, so starting with 5. And also, the person who starts the hand is going to have the pink 0. They don't have to play it. But how the game works is it's a trick-taking game where players, when they play one of the cards, and the suits here are the different colors, it is must follow. So say this, I shouldn't have used 5s. That's not a good joke, because now I have to say this blue 5 led a magenta 7. Coming to the one on 5, they have to play a magenta card. So maybe they play this 9. Coming to the bear up here, maybe they play this 6, and then finally the sail card plays the 3. The winner of the trick is whoever played the highest card of the lead suit, so that is the 5 Watermelon. They played a 9 in magenta, because magenta was lead. They're going to take the card that they won the trick with, that 9, They're going to put it on top of the stack of cards, put it in front of them with the 9 face up, and then they're going to lead to the next trick. Maybe they lead with an 11. Let's say the bear is actually out of magenta and they play the 12, because if you're out of magenta, you can play whatever you want. It still must follow. So in this case, it's still the highest of the lead suit wins. So the watermelon would win again with this 11. They would collect this and then lead again. But let's say that the watermelon player, after they played a magenta, got to the bear player, and the bear player wanted to play one of the trump cards. So silver is the trump. So if there's silver in the trick, it's actually the highest silver that wins. So in this case, again, because the sail player did not have any magenta, they played the 12. And the 5 player over here still has to play magenta. They're going to play that. The highest of the trump suit is going to win if there's a trump suit in there, which is the gray. They're going to collect it and do the same. So standard must follow trick taking for now. But you might be saying, oh, look at the card backs. What is so special about the card backs? Well, notice how there wasn't a 5 magenta in the deck. Well, that's because it's on all the backs of the card. So when you have certain opportunities in the game, you can flip any card, whoop, and play a magenta 5 into the trick. So one of the first ways that you can do it is if you're leading a trick, you can pick any one of your cards and flip them and put it into the trick as a magenta 5. That is pretty cool. So now it's must follow on magenta. So coming to the blue 5 over here, they have to play this card here because it's must follow. So then also coming to the fruit, they have to play something. They actually all have crazy cards. They're just gonna play that. And then coming to the bear over here, they will play that. So it's highest of lead suit unless they're trump, which is this, so that is going to win it. Let's say that it was lead blue, and coming to the bear up here, they can, if they only have exactly one blue card left, like let's say this was their hand, they can flip that and play it as a pink, or a magenta rather, 5. Because the rule is, if you have exactly one of that suit left, you will have to play that card, but you can play it face down. The other restriction is if someone has played a magenta 5 before, like let's say the watermelon player flipped this, boop, and played it as a magenta 5. The bear player over here, they could play any of these cards, and maybe they would want to play some of them as a magenta 5, but they cannot because there can only be one magenta 5 in the trick ever. And the last way you can play a magenta 5 is if it was lead and you don't have any of the cards in that suit, you can flip any card in your hand, whoop, to be a magenta 5. Jumping ahead to the end here, the watermelon player did still bust, so they are going to lose one of their points from in front of them. And that's going to go to the player who did the best, whoever got closest to 25 without going over. That is the sail player over here. They got 22, so they're going to get this chip. In addition, they are going to, because they were the closest to 25, they're going to get 3 chips from the bank. And then also, the second closest is going to get 2 chips, which is this player over here. And then finally, third closest is going to get 1 chip. In a 3-player game, it just goes down by 1. So closest would get 2 chips, second closest 1 chip. Anyone busted still loses a chip. Also, if you ever get exactly 25, like maybe let's say it looked like this for the old sail player, boom, they will still get all their points, which is great, but they're also going to get a bonus chip for hitting 25. So that would be the scoring for one hand. You're going to play 4 total hands this way, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. And that's how to play 5s. The deck in 13 leaves is, as you can guess, 1 through 13, but there's different amount of copies of each card depending on the number. So on the extremes, there's less, like the 1 and the 13 are 2 each, but in the center, where the 7s are, there's actually 8 copies of each. Here we have a game of 13 leaves set up for 3 players, so depending on the player count, you're actually going to deal out different number of cards, and then the rest are just going to be set aside. So at 3 players, there's going to be 12 cards dealt to each player, and the start player is just random, so let's say it's this big old perfume bottle. So the goal of the game is to get rid of all the cards in your hand. And how the play works is someone will just play to the center here. So maybe this player plays a 3. And then coming to clockwise, this little cat, little booklet here, what they can play is they can play the same number of cards, the same number, or higher or lower when there's only one out here. So they could play pretty much anything. So maybe let's say they play a 7 just to make it more interesting. So you're going to have a low side and a high side, and it's important to keep track of that during the game. So coming to this player here, now things are starting to get spicy. It's 3 and 7, so they actually cannot play a 4, 5, or 6. You can't play the same number though, so they could play this 3, they could play a 7 if they had it, they do. Let's say they decided, just to keep things a little simple, they're going to play an 8. So you're going to play an 8 right here. And so you're going to keep kind of growing this line of sorts. Coming to the flower over here, they can play any amount of 8s or higher, any amount of 3s or lower. And so maybe they actually play 2 2s. So they're going to do that. So now what's interesting is coming to this player here, they can now play 2 2s, which they can't because, as you can see up here, this shows how many in the deck there are. There's only 3 2s, so that's impossible. But they could play 2 1s or lower, or they can play a single 8 or higher. So looking at their hand, maybe they have a couple of good cards. They're going to play 2 9s. So that is going to go there. So coming up here to this player now, they can play 2 1s, 2 9s, or higher. So they do have 2 9s. So if you ever play the same number, it actually is going to combine. So say they play 2 9s. So they couldn't play 1 9 because you have to play the same number of cards. So they can't just play 1 9 and add it here. They have to play 2 9s. So when they do, it's actually going to get added. Whoa. So now it's 4 9s on the end here. So things are starting to get pretty wild. So coming to the flower player here, they can play either 4 9s or higher, which they do not have, 4 10s. Oh, they were close to playing 4 10s. They cannot do that. So they actually are forced to pass here. So looking at this situation, when you pass, you must take 1 card from anywhere in the row. It could be in the middle here. And so looking at this player's hand, they have another 9. So maybe they just want to make their 9s bigger. They're going to take this 9 and put it into their hand. When you pass, it's hard pass, so you're out for the rest of the round or the trick or whatever. And so you are actually told to put your cards face down so players know who's in and who's out. It's a little tough right now because I'm putting cards face down because I only have so many hands. But play will continue, so it'll come over to the booklet here. And they also have to pass. They are going to take this 7 into their hand. When everyone but one player passes in a row, this is going to wipe, get discarded, and the player who remained is going to lead off next. What's interesting is, let's say like this player plays 2 10s and it comes over here, and maybe this player over here plays 2 6s. Now, this player up here has to play, again, either 2 6s or lower, 2 10s or higher, and say they can't. Yep, because they don't even have any pairs at all, that would work because they have a pair of 7, but it's stuck there. So this player is going to pass. But what's interesting is maybe this player over here also didn't have any pairs. Like actually, yeah, like this person, oh, ignore that 12. This person actually can't play, but watch this person. If this person passed, boop, it actually opens it up for this person now to play. So maybe this person plays a 12. And the round would continue. So let's say this player over here was able to play on that 12. This person has passed, so they're out of it. So it actually goes back to this player here. And if they could, maybe they, keep playing. They can't, so they're just going to take this 10. Look at another example. Let's say it's this person's turn and they led 3 5s. So that is pretty crazy because now to be able to play on this, you have to play 3 5s, lower or higher. So coming to this player over here, they actually cannot play on this because they do not have any triples. So they're going to have to take the 5 and pass. And now this person's in the same boat. They can only play on this if they have pairs. Thankfully they do, so they're going to play the 2 10s. But play like this is going to continue until someone's out of cards and that player wins. That is the normal way to play it. There's also an expert variant where you can play multiple hands, but I'll leave you to discover that on your own. And that's how to play 13 Leaves. So that is 5s and 13 Leaves. Quite the look, huh, when you add it all together. And these games are quite the look. This is actually probably the best production duo I've ever covered. It is wild. So while I am wearing the pumpkin, let's cover 13 Leaves. So I actually brought this to the T10 trick-taking convention, and it got a ton of play. You can actually kind of tell in these cards. It's been shuffled just a ton. First and foremost, I personally love the production with like the nice little slide up. I think that's such a clever little nice touch. The gold foiling, the cards are really pretty. And I do love like the little dots to let you know how many there are. Nice little touch. I think everything is a very calming, nice, pleasant thing. It's interesting. The people I played it with were laughing, though, that the game itself can be very mean, and maybe that's just the tables I played it at, but the the vibe of like this serene, calm kind of leaf motif is sometimes a little dissonant when someone is really rude and they play a lot of like 5 9s at the table and they completely mess over every single other person. So I think there's so many clever things going on in this game. I love the idea that when you pass, you're forced to take one exact card, but it can't be from anywhere, but then you are like out. And I think there's a good tension of the hard pass there where you are likely trying to either build big sets, which only kind of happen in the middle, or kind of take the outside ones. There is some little bit of like spinning the wheels sometimes where like maybe you'll only pass in a trick, or maybe you will play one card and then have to even pass and maybe even take that card back. So sometimes there's moments of like, oh, I didn't even do anything that round. But, you know, usually someone is shedding. There are just like, kind of like tricks that are just brutal. Like someone could just play a bunch of a card and just completely wipe this whole length, or the whole half of the kind of continuum there. I do think there's a nice balance of like, oh, you can go low, you can go high, and so there is some flexibility to the cards. That's always nice. The deck itself is really clever. There are moments of, I think this is a sign of a good shedder, where there's like, you can always pass, maybe optionally to kind of better your hand. I think that's players who do the best kind of notice is, even though, yeah, you could play a single 4 or something right there, you might want to pass and build up your set of 9s or something. But that doesn't always help. Sometimes I've often played this where I've just been sitting on like a big bomb. And a bomb, I guess, in this game is like 3, 4, 5 of a kind, right? Which feels really strong, but if you never get to play it, then is it? There's some pretty clever moments. I do think it took me a while to wrap my head around some of the rules. So like you can play the same number of cards and then they add. So like playing 2 of the same number onto a 1 makes it like a 3. That was a little tough. And then also just like what you can play was a little tough to wrap my brain around. But I like the fact that like someone could take away one of the cards of a pair and allow the next player to be able to openly play. I like that flow of like, it might be restrictive and then unrestricted. It has like kind of like scout vibes where it's like something's really hard to play off of and then someone takes a card off of the meld or whatever, if you think about it that way, and then it can now free. So there's a kind of like a nice tension of breathing in life to something that was restrictive. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I was provided these copies of these games. So again, huge bias. It's something that fits a pretty good player range. I'm pretty sure it goes to 6. And I had a funny moment where the first times I played this, I think the first 3 times, maybe 4 times I played it, was only at 6, just because so many people wanted to play. And it definitely works. I think at that count, it's very, you're just like, okay, just flying by the seat of your pants. You'll just pass a lot and or just get forced into situations a lot at 6. It's just like, oh, okay. I think it's probably best at like 4 or like maybe a more reasonable number for like a climbing shooting game. But I think there's fun moments. I love the deck makeup, so clever. I think the graphic design also is really, really nice. Where a lot of the sets are in the center and then fewer cards are, you know, scattered, like leaves, later out. So even though you have like a 13 or something, which is really good because it's so far out, there's only 2 of them. So you can't really build like a big 13 set. And I think probably, I don't do too well in this game, but I think probably some of that strategy is optionally passing to maybe build bigger sets or maybe take like a really good card. But there's something to that cleverness. And I know I mentioned at the top where it does remind me of like Shinoku no Gaku, where it's like high cards are good because they go high, low cards are good because they go low, and then the middle cards are good because they're giant sets, right? They're great to lead with. So it's like no cards really bad in this game. I think the worst in this game is if you get dealt like one of each. Like if you have a long run or something, that's not good. But other than that, I think there's a nice kind of balance to the game, and I guess maybe that fits with the theme, like a nice little balance. So definitely check this out. I think there's some really cool moves you can do, some cool mechanics, some cool twists, all in a relatively simple package. I think another hang up that I had personally was like, again, this is maybe just my brain knowing a lot of climbing shooting games like Haggis and Tichu and more traditional ones were like even like Scout, which is, you know, kind of a little different. But this one, the how you play, where it's like, okay, same number of cards and the same number or lower, or same number of cards or same number or higher, was a little tough because I saw people playing like 1-5, and then people would play 2 5s, and it would add to the 5s, and then you'd have to play like 3 5s. So I think the flow was a little bit tough to wrap my brain out at the very start, but I think once I got into it, it definitely is a very fluid game. Like people are like playing and passing, and like it does kind of go around at a good clip. Sometimes, like I was saying, like you could play one card and then have to like pass later and pick another card back up. So sometimes it feels like you're like spinning your wheels sometimes, or even worse, where you just have to pass. That feels pretty brutal. So there are tricks that you're like, oh man, I'll never get out. But I think it's interesting because the game feels like sometimes you're like scraping at the end just to get out. But when you do get out, it does feel great. So I think overall, super clever, super tight. I think maybe I like it more at lower player counts where you do get more of a chance to play. Because sometimes at higher player counts, it just feels like there's nothing you could have done sometimes. But overall, really cool. 13 leaves, super excited for other stuff Masato does. I think he's a great designer. I think he's super slick. 5s. Oh, Taiki Shinzawa game, CMYK production, and littered with 5s. I mean, in the back it says 5s, 5s, 5s across the board. Oh, I absolutely. So that is 5s by Taiki Shinzawa. So that's 5s and 13 leaves. 18 amounts of great gaming. You cannot go wrong with these two bad boys. And thank you so much again. 4,055 subscribers is so nuts. Oh, it is overwhelming how nice everyone is. So thank you so much. As a fun final surprise, if you watch this far, kind of got soft announced, but Sail Legacy. Oh, yeah. Go check it out on BGG. I'll have a link in the description maybe. But yeah, Sail Legacy. It got announced. I'm so excited. I did the design, and it has been wild to design a trick-taking Legacy game. What? So there's going to be more details, but I just thought I'd mention it. First time on the channel. Pretty wild. Huh? Alright. Thanks so much again, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.